Yeah.
It's fun.
Hi, YouTube world. Welcome to the COVID house. Just what we've always wanted. It's like Christmas came fucking early.
Wow,
Please note my intense, serious sarcasm right now.
whoa, bro.
It's my wife. Whoa, bro. So, I am sucking it up, and I am putting on makeup, and I am doing a true crime segment. However, you're going to have to bear with me, because I'm not allowed to go to the library to print it out. So I'm reading off my cell phone, which of course the screen is like this big. Ugh. So you're just going to have to bear with me while we do this. Shit, will you pause my game real quick? Thank you. Okay, let's get started here. Get the hair up and we'll get started. Ow! Bitch! Okay. And yes, I'm aware that it's Saturday and I usually do true crime on Friday, but I just did not have the energy to pretend to muster up enough to do a makeup look and a true crime segment. So that is why you're getting it on a Saturday. And also because my content on TikTok and everything is like slacking. Because I've been sick. I mean, not that I don't have a good reason for it slacking, but still. Okay. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Gary Leon Ridgway, born February 18th of 1949, was also known as the Green River Killer and is an American serial killer. He was initially convicted of 48 separate murders. As part of his plea bargain, another conviction was added, bringing the total number of convictions to 49, making him the most prolific serial killer in United States history according to confirmed murders. He killed many teenage girls and women in the U.S. state of Washington during the 1980s and 1990s. Most of Ridgway's victims were alleged to be sex workers and other women in vulnerable circumstances, including underage runaways. The press gave him his nickname after the first 5 victims were found in the Green River before his identity was known. He strangled his victims, usually by hand, but sometimes using ligatures. After strangling them, he would dump their bodies in forested and overgrown areas in King County after returning to the bodies to have sexual intercourse with them. Ridgway had some issues. On November 30th, 2001, as Ridgway was leaving the Kenworth truck factory where he worked in Renton, Washington, he was arrested for the murders of 4 women whose cases were linked to him through DNA profiling evidence. As part of a plea bargain where he agreed to disclose the locations of still missing women, he was spared the death penalty and received a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. On November 30th, 2001, as Ridgway... Oh shit, sorry, I just read that part, didn't I? Whew. Gary was the second of Mary and Thomas Ridgway's 3 sons. His home life was somewhat troubled. Relatives would Relatives have described his mother as domineering and have said that while young, he witnessed more than one violent argument between his parents. His father was a bus driver who would often complain about the presence of sex workers. The expression he used in the research that I did was lot lizards, which is basically truck stop hookers. So essentially sex workers. It all adds up to be the same thing. Ridgway had a bedwetting problem until he was 13, and his mother would wash his genitals after every episode. And I found this to be disturbing on my own front because I'm like, he's 13. I'm pretty sure he can wash himself. Like, there's just all kinds of things that seem wrong about that. He would later tell psychologists that as an adolescent, he had conflicting feelings of anger and sexual attraction towards his mother, and fantasized about killing her. Ridgway is dyslexic and was held back a year in high school. When he was 16, he stabbed a 6-year-old boy who survived the attack. Ridgway led the boy into the woods, and then stabbed him through the ribs into his liver. I am not entirely sure why there were no charges pressed against him for this, but there wasn't. He went on to graduate high school and go about living his life. I don't understand what the parents of the 6-year-old were offered or thought in not pressing charges against him, because personally, if you stabbed my 6-year-old kid, I would stab you. That's just how it is. But there was really nothing that elaborated on why he was not tried or convicted of stabbing the 6-year-old little boy. Ridgway's IQ was recorded as being in the low 80s, which made him, by public and society standards, mentally retarded. Ridgway graduated from Tyee High School in 1969 and married his 19-year-old high school girlfriend, Claudia King. He joined the United States Navy and was sent to Vietnam. Again, this is another prime example of a serial killer being in the military and me wondering why the fuck every serial killer I feel like I've researched has somehow been in the law enforcement or been in the military. And I don't get it. But whatever. He joined the United States Navy and was sent to Vietnam, where he served on board a supply ship and saw combat. During his time in the military, he had frequent sex with sex workers and contracted gonorrhea. Although angered by this, he continued this activity without protection. His marriage ended within a year. My marriage would have ended too within a year if you were doing all that shit. Friends and family described him as friendly but strange. His first 2 marriages resulted in divorce because of infidelities by both partners. His second wife, Marcia Winslow, claimed that he had placed her in a chokehold. According to women in his life, Ridgway had an insatiable sexual appetite. His 3 ex-wives and several ex-girlfriends reported that he demanded sex from them several times a day. Ridgway had a son, Matthew, born in 1975. Matthew did change his last name when his father was arrested and convicted. So, he didn't. I'm guessing his parents did. But either way, Matthew is no longer Matthew Ridgway. He is somebody else entirely. And while I was able to find who he is, I am choosing not to share that information because he changed his name for a reason. And he doesn't want to be associated with his father, so we will not be revealing his new name, but he is no longer going by Matthew Ridgway. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Ridgway is believed to have murdered at least 71 teenage girls and women near Seattle and Tacoma, Washington. 71. Fuck that kid. Okay. In court statements, Ridgway later reported that he killed so many that he had lost count. A majority of the murders occurred between 1982 and 1984. Ridgway sometimes showed the women a picture of his son, hence why she changed his name, to trick them into trusting him. He killed most victims in his home, his truck, or a secluded area. Most of their bodies were dumped in wooded areas around the Green River, Seattle Tacoma International Airport. That is a fucking mouthful. And other dump sites within South King County. What do you say ow for?
I don't know what I read now.
Concealer?
I thought it's pain.
Oh, okay.
Just because I have a lot of pain.
There were also 2 confirmed and another 2 suspected victims found in the Portland, Oregon area. The bodies were often left in clusters, sometimes posed, usually nude. He would sometimes return to the victims' bodies and have sexual intercourse with them, aka necrophilia. Ridgway later explained that he did not find necrophilia more sexually satisfying, but having sex with the deceased reduced his need to obtain a living victim and thus limited his exposure to being caught. Because most of the bodies weren't discovered until only the skeletons remained, 2 victims are still unidentified. Sad story. Okay. Ridgway was arrested in 1982 and 2001 on charges related to prostitution. He became a suspect in the Green River killings in 1983. In 1984, Ridgway passed a polygraph test. No idea how he managed to do that one. On April 7, 1987, police took hair and saliva samples from Ridgway. Around 1985, Ridgway began dating Judith Mawson, who became his 3rd wife in 1988. Mawson claimed in a 2010 television interview that when she moved into his house while they were dating, there was no carpet. Detectives later told her he had probably wrapped a body in the carpet. She claimed that she had not suspected Ridgway's crimes before she was contacted by authorities in 1987, and had not even heard of the Green River Killer before that time because she did not watch the news. Don't know how much of that I believe, but can't really prove otherwise. I don't think she helped him commit any of the murders, but I don't see how you could have never heard of this serial killer or put together that things were going on. I don't know, but whatever. I'm not there, I'm not her, I'm not a professional, so I don't know. I just find it hard to believe. Of his 49 known victims, only 3 were killed after he married Mawson. Mawson told a local television reporter, "I feel I have saved lives by being his wife and making him happy." And maybe she did. Who knows? I mean, 3 people still died, but could have been a lot more, I guess. On November 30th, 2001, Ridgway was at the Kenworth truck factory where he worked as a spray painter when police arrived to arrest him. Ridgway was arrested on suspicion of murdering 4 women nearly 20 years earlier after first being identified as a potential suspect. When DNA evidence conclusively linked semen left in the victims to the saliva swab taken by the police. On November 5th, 2003, Ridgway entered a guilty plea to 48 charges of aggravated first-degree murder as part of a plea bargain agreed to in June that would spare him execution in exchange for his cooperation in locating the remains of his victims and providing other details. Deputy Prosecutor Jeffrey Bard noted in court that the deal contained the names of 41 victims who would not be the subject of State versus Ridgway if it were not for the plea agreement. On December 18, 2003, King County Superior Court Judge Richard Jones sentenced Ridgway to 48 life sentences, with no possibility of parole and 1 life sentence to be served consecutively. He was also sentenced to an additional 10 years for tampering with evidence for each of the 48 victims, adding 480 years to his 48 life sentences. Now, then it was considered tampering with evidence, but now it's also tampering with evidence, but now if you're, engage in intercourse with the corpse or whatever, you'll also be charged with desecration of a corpse. And that's a big ass, jail time sentence. And I mean, imagine if you did it 48 times. He was never getting out anyway, but I mean, they were super gonna make sure he couldn't get out. And, like, with the desecration of a corpse, I think it's now, like, 10 to 15 years extra added onto your sentence. Like the girl who threw her boyfriend's mother's ashes over the fucking bridge. You know, that's desecration of a corpse. It's not allowed. It's bad. You shouldn't do that. Be mad at your boyfriend, ladies, but don't take it out on the dead mom. That's not cool. So, usually while I let this set, I take this time to... text Elodie and tell her I just ate a grilled cheese. She asked me if I wanted one. And I'm in the middle of filming, so...
You just said her name, too.
Well, too late now. What do you want me to do?
Don't say that.
I'm not on TikTok. I'm just on YouTube. Huh? But,
This bitch put me through voice. Should have stopped.
I don't understand why this is so far out of the way. Anyway, I usually would take this time while it was all set to ask you all what you think so far. Gary Ridgway had some issues. Really, really big ones. But it still gets to me that I feel like every serial killer I research has been in the military of some kind. Like, what the fuck is that? We don't look into, like, background or anything, or psychological evaluations. We just give whoever a gun, and are like, go for it. Huh?
I was trying to remember what I was doing. Someone makes me have a fucking brain for it.
Yeah. Ridgway led prosecutors to 3 bodies in 2003. On August 16th of that year, the remains of a 16-year-old found near Enumclaw, Washington, 40 feet from State Route 410, were pronounced as belonging to Pammy Annette Event, who had been believed to be a victim of the Green River Killer. Give me just a second, guys. Let me do eyeliner and lip liner real quick.
I just bit my tongue.
I'm sorry.
That hurt.
I guess I should be fortunate I don't have that problem anymore. Yeah.
That's not what I was thinking about.
Did you text Elle?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, you're welcome. I told her you said thank you for asking.
I did say thank you.
I know. She said, you know. I don't want to be sick no more.
Same.
No more.
A lip liner is so much harder to do when you don't have teeth in. It's
You
really
don't have
fucking...
what?
My teeth in. Anyway, where was I? The skull of another victim, Tracy Winston. Oh shit, sorry. On November 23rd, 2005, the Associated... Nope. Listen, we're just going to start this part over here. Ridgway led prosecutors to 3 bodies in 2003. On August 16th of that year, the remains of a 16-year-old found near Enumclaw, Washington, 40 feet from State Route 410, were pronounced as belonging to Pammy Annette Event, who had been believed to be a victim of the Green River Killer. The remains of Marie Malvar and April Buttram were found on September 2003. On November 23rd, 2005, the Associated Press reported that a weekend hiker found the skull of one of the 48 women Ridgway admitted to murdering in his 2003 plea bargain with King County prosecutors. The skull of another victim, Tracy Winston, who was 19 when she disappeared from the Northgate Mall on September 12, 1983, was found on November 20th, 2005 by a man hiking in a wooded area near Highway 18 near Issaquah, southeast of Seattle. Ridgway later said that murdering young women was his career. Ambitious. Okay. Ridgway's confirmed. I really cannot speak English today. Confirmed victims were. This is going to take me a minute, so bear with me. Wendy Lee Caulfield, 16. Giselle Ann Lavorne, 17. Deborah Lynn Bonner, 23. Marsha Faye Chapman, 31. Cynthia Jean Hines, 17. Opal Charmaine Mills, 16. Terry Renee Milligan, 16. Mary Bridget Meehan, 18. Deborah Lorraine Estes, 15. Linda Jane Rule, 16. My mom's name is Linda. Denise Darcel Bush, 23. Shonda Leah Summers, 16. Shirley Marie Sherrill, 18. Rebecca Becky Morero, 20. A lot of names, so just bear with me because I'm trying to do makeup at the same time. Colleen Renee Brockman, 15. Sandra Denise Major, 20. And Wendy Stevens, 14. Alma Ann Smith, 18. Dolores Laverne Williams, 17. Gail Lynn Matthews, 23. Andrea Marion Childers, 18. Sandra K. Gabbert, 17. So freaking young. That's sad. Kimmy Kai Pitzer, 16. Marie M. Malvar, 18. Carol Ann Christensen, 21. Hold on one second. I gotta fix this up here. Don't know what that was about. Martina Teresa Otherly, 18. Shirley Lee Wims, 18. Yvonne Shelley Antosh, 19. Carrie Ann Royce, 15. Constance Elizabeth Naon, 19. Kelly Marie Ware, 22. Tina Marie Thompson, 21. April Dawn Buttram, 16. Debbie Mae Abernathy, 26. Tracy Ann Winston, 19. Maureen Sue Feeney, 19. Mary Sue Bello, 25. Pammy Annette Avent, 15. Delise Louise Plager, 22. Kimberly L. Nelson, 21. Lisa Yates, 19. Mary Exetta West, 16. Cindy Ann Smith, 17. Patricia Michelle Barzak, 19. Roberta Joseph Hayes, 21. Morta Reeves, 36. Patricia Yellow Robe, 38. Jane Doe B17, between the ages of 14 to 18. Jane Doe B20, between the ages of 13 to 34. It kills me that some of them were just so young. But he was not a preferential offender. He did not have a preferred age, so he just kind of was open to anyone who could get his hands on, really. That sick and disgusting freaking freak. Before Ridgway's confession, authorities had not attributed the deaths of Rule, Barzak, Hayes, Reeves, Yellow Robe, or Jane Doe B20 to the Green River Killer. So basically, due to his confession, he was actually convicted of more murders than he would have been because they didn't know he did it. So, I mean, I guess, yay, thanks for letting us know, but at the same time, you're still a jackass for killing all these people who did, nothing to you. I don't understand, what makes serial killers go, yep, that's the one I want. What about us as women gives off that, makes them think, yeah, that's the one I'm gonna do today. That's the one I'm gonna murder today. And I've read many things that, say that you walk past, I think it's 11 serial killers in your lifetime. And I'm like, that's insane. 11? That's a lot. That's a lot of that. Yeah, no? It's enough to kind of make you wonder what makes, I guess, certain... Are you kidding me? I just lost that earring, and I'm not even in the mood to care. Find a different. What makes, I guess, certain women more appealing than others? Especially when you have a serial killer like Ridgway, where it really doesn't seem like he had much of a preference in who he killed. The ages spanned from the ages of 13 to 21, or 31 I think was the highest. No, 38. Patricia Yellow Robe was 38, so the highest was 38. What are we doing as people that makes us potentially vulnerable to said serial killers? There's obviously some things factor in that you yourself cannot fix. You can't change the way your face looks. You can't change the fact that you may look like somebody that it is the reason why they're fighting, or they're out killing. There's not anything you can do about certain facial features or the way your face looks, aside from extensive plastic surgery, and nobody can afford that. So, obviously, that is not something we can fix or change because it's just there. It's part of who we are. But it does make me But it does make me curious to want to know what makes certain women stand out more than others, I guess. Does that make sense? But anyway, that is the story of Gary Ridgway. I hope you all enjoyed getting ready with me. We also did a look to the Disney movie A Tale of Two Critters. I hope you all enjoyed getting ready with me. As always, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Be cautiously kind to others. And be... Well, I don't even remember. Alright. Yeah. Have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.